2 Samuel 14. Absalom returns to Jerusalem. Joab, the son of Zeruiah, knew that the king longed to see Absalom. So Joab sent someone to Tekoa to have a wise woman brought back from there. Joab said to her, "Pretend you are filled with sadness. Put on black clothes. Don't use any makeup. Act like a woman who has spent many days sobbing over someone who has died. Then go to the king. Give him the message I'm about to give you." And Joab told her what to say. The woman from Tekoa went to the king. She bowed down with her face toward the ground. She did it to show him respect. She said, "King David, please help me." The king asked her, "What's bothering you?" She said, "I am a widow. My husband is dead. I had 2 sons. They got into a fight with each other in the field. No one was there to separate them. One of my sons struck the other one down and killed him. Now my whole family group has risen up against me. They say, 'Hand over the one who struck his brother down. Then we can put him to death for killing his brother. That will also get rid of the one who will receive the family property.' They want to kill the only living son that I have left, just as someone who would put out a burning coal. That would leave my husband without any son on the face of the earth to carry on his name." The king said to the woman, "Go home. I'll give an order to make sure you are taken care of." But the woman from Tekoa said to him, "You are my king and my master. No matter what you do, I and my family will take the blame for it. You and your royal family won't be guilty of doing anything wrong." The king replied, "If people give you any trouble, bring them to me. They won't bother you again." She said, "Please pray to the Lord your God. Pray that he will keep our nearest male relative from killing my other son. Then my son won't be destroyed." "You can be sure that the Lord lives," the king said, "and you can be just as sure that not one hair of your son's head will fall to the ground." Then the woman said, "King David, please let me say something else to you." "Go ahead," he replied. The woman said, "You are the king, so why have you done something that brings so much harm on God's people? When you do that, you hand down a sentence against yourself. You won't let the son you drove away come back. All of us must die. We are like water that is spilled on the ground. It can't be put back into the jar. But God doesn't take life away. Instead, he finds a way to bring back anyone who was driven away from him. King David, I've come here to say this to you now. I've done it because people have made me afraid. I thought, I'll go and speak to the king. Perhaps he'll do what I'm asking. Perhaps he'll agree to save me from the man who was trying to cut off me and my son from the property God gave us. So now I'm saying, may what you have told me bring me peace and rest. You are like an angel of God. You know what is good and what is evil. May the Lord your God be with you." Then the king said to the woman, "I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to tell me the truth." "Please, ask me anything you want to," the woman said. The king asked, "Joab told you to say all of this, didn't he?" The woman answered, "What you have told me is exactly right. And that's just as sure as you are alive. It's true that Joab directed me to do this. He told me everything he wanted me to say. He did it to change the way things now are. You are as wise as an angel of God. You know everything that happens in the land." Later the king said to Joab, "All right, I'll do what you want. Go, bring the young man Absalom back." Joab bowed down with his face toward the ground. He did it to honor the king, and he asked God to bless the king. He said, "You are my king and master. Today I know that you are pleased with me. You have given me what I have asked for." Then Joab went to Geshur. He brought Absalom back to Jerusalem, but the king said, "He must go to his own house. I don't want him to come and see me." So Absalom went to his own house. He didn't go to see the king. In the whole land of Israel, there wasn't any man as handsome as Absalom was. That's why everyone praised him. From the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, he didn't have any flaws. He used to cut his hair when it became too heavy for him. Then he would weigh it. It weighed 5 pounds, in keeping with the standard weights that were used in the palace. 3 sons and a daughter were born to Absalom. The daughter's name was Tamar. She became a beautiful woman. Absalom lived in Jerusalem for 2 years without going to see the king. Then Absalom sent for Joab. He wanted to send him to the king, but Joab refused to come to Absalom. So Absalom sent for him a second time, but Joab still refused to come. Then Absalom said to his servants, "Joab's field is next to mine. He has barley growing there. Go and set it on fire." So Absalom's servants set the field on fire. Joab finally went to Absalom's house. He said to Absalom, "Why did your servant set my field on fire?" Absalom said to Joab, "I sent a message to you. It said, 'Come here. I want to send you to the king. I want you to ask him for me. Why did you bring me back from Geshur? I would be better off if I were still there. Now then, I want to go and see the king. If I'm guilty of doing anything wrong, let him put me to death.'" So Joab went to the king and told him that. Then the king sent for Absalom. He came in and bowed down to the king with his face toward the ground. And then the king kissed Absalom.